Imagine this. You're in the middle of a heated debate. Your heart is racing, your mind is focused on crafting the perfect counter-argument, and your words are ready to strike like a sword. But the other person is doing the exact same thing. Nobody is listening, just waiting for their turn to attack. And then, he appears, not to take sides, not to prove who is right. Instead, he leans in and whispers something that stops you cold. You've already lost. Why? Because the moment you step into an argument driven by ego, you surrender your power. But what if I told you that true power isn't found in proving yourself right? It's hidden in something far more unexpected. This is the secret that Friedrich Nietzsche understood, and today, we're going to uncover why silence, not shouting, is the ultimate weapon. Why do we argue? Think about the last time you argued with someone. Was it really about the facts, or was it about something deeper? Nietzsche believed that most arguments aren't about truth, they're about psychological survival. Here's why people fight. Ego protection. Being wrong feels like an attack on who we are, so we fight to defend our self-image, control, and dominance. Many arguments are power struggles disguised as intellectual debates, validation. Sometimes we argue not to discover truth but to prove our worth to ourselves and others. But Nietzsche saw these behaviors as weaknesses. He believed that if you're easily provoked, you're already under someone else's control. The moment someone makes you react emotionally, you've lost the game. Nietzsche's will to power, the strength of restraint. Nietzsche's philosophy wasn't about brute force or shouting the loudest. It was about self-mastery, the ability to control your emotions, your reactions, and ultimately, the battlefield of conversation itself. This is where the Übermensch comes in, Nietzsche's idea of the superior individual. The Übermensch isn't enslaved by their emotions. They don't argue for the sake of ego. Instead, they choose when to engage and when to remain silent. Because real power isn't in talking, it's in controlling the entire interaction. Imagine a high-stakes negotiation. One person is talking fast, trying to dominate the discussion. But the other, they're calm, listening, absorbing every word. And then, after a well-placed pause, they speak, just one sentence that shifts the entire conversation. Who really had the power here? Nietzsche understood this. Silence isn't weakness, it's a strategy. It forces the other person to reveal their true thoughts. It makes them uncomfortable, creating an imbalance of power. It turns uncertainty into an advantage. True leaders, thinkers, and strategists know this. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest, it's the one who controls when they speak. How history's greatest minds used silence to dominate. This principle isn't just philosophy, it's been used by some of the most influential minds in history to shift the balance of power in their favor. Socrates, winning without attacking. Socrates never won arguments by force. Instead, he asked questions. He didn't challenge people directly, he made them challenge themselves. Imagine an arrogant politician claiming to be wise. Socrates doesn't argue, he simply asks, "What is wisdom?" The politician tries to define it, but with each question, his definition crumbles. Socrates' genius? He didn't have to tell people they were wrong. He made them realize it themselves. That's the power of restraint. Steve Jobs, the master of persuasive silence. Steve Jobs didn't waste energy arguing. He used strategic silence to let ideas sink in. During a famous product pitch, an engineer excitedly explained a new feature. Jobs just stared at him. The silence stretched. The engineer grew nervous. And then Jobs finally spoke. "But is it necessary?" In that pause, the entire room rethought their approach. Jobs didn't argue. He made people question themselves. Miyamoto Musashi, winning before the fight begins. Musashi, the undefeated samurai, understood that the best fight is the one that never happens. In his famous duel with Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi arrived hours late, frustrating his opponent. By the time they fought, Kojiro was blinded by rage, and Musashi easily won. He didn't just defeat Kojiro physically, he defeated him psychologically before the fight even started. The ultimate question, do you control the conversation or does it control you? Nietzsche's lesson is clear. True power isn't about proving you're right, it's about mastering yourself. The next time you feel the urge to argue, ask yourself, am I reacting emotionally or am I in control? Am I arguing to discover truth or just to protect my ego? Is my silence more powerful than my words? Because in the end, those who can control their reactions control everything. And that is the real power of silence.